Hello everyone, it is Tuesday evening and I am Anne Woodcock from FishPal for the weekly fishing update from FishPal. So I hope you're all having a nice time and you've all been out fishing. Now, who's actually going to be on our fishing show this evening? Well, I have the wonderful Mark from Mark Paterson, who is the owner of LTS Fishing UK and Ireland. I've also got the Stronach family as well. They're actually going to be joining me a little bit later, and as you can tell, they have been fishing with the wonderful Alan Liddell, who is currently gracing the front cover of Flyfishing and Fly Tying magazine. And also as well is that we're going to be finding out a little bit about their fishing trip out on a loch in the Inverness area. So I'm having a quick look at the moment with reference to the catches, and only Tuesday, and the Tay have had 44 fish so far this week, and their biggest fish has been on Isle of Mouse at £18. Fish yesterday were caught from the bottom, obviously at Almondmouth, Upper Kinnaird and Strathfillan Angling Association. Nice to see the Angling Association getting catches. The D, they've had 25 so far this week, 5 sea trout as well, and some nice pictures coming in from the D. So anybody who's out fishing, do share your photos with us because there's some absolutely fabulous fish. And again, you've got crathie all the way down to Park on the Tweed. I know Cumbria, they've had 3 fish reported. Tyne have reported 5 fish with 16 sea trout, and the Tweed, they have reported fish £16. The biggest has been £16 yesterday on Henderside, and they have reported 44 fish so far this week. And the Bewley, they've had 28 fish and 2 sea trout. So do take a look at the FishPal latest catches page, and it's nice as well to see the Hebrides in with some fish. And do give us a comment. So I know I've got some comments. Oh, Melvin, you're heading off to the Spey. Well, tight lines, Melvin. They've had 20 fish. You know, we don't get all the beats on the Spey reporting. We only get a small number of beats on the Spey reporting, and they've had 20 fish so far this week. Gordon Castle had a nice 14-pounder yesterday. Nice to see that Abernethy Angling Association, they are reporting salmon as well this week. Angling Association water is brilliant as well. I love Angling Association water. And also what we're actually doing at FishPal is that every Monday I am joining up with my colleague Tom, and we're talking about the week's fishing, what's fishing, where people are going, etc. So do tune in on a Monday, and if you want to watch that again, all you've got to do is go to the FishPal Facebook page, and I've actually pinned it to the top. So I'm just going to introduce my guest. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually get them live this evening, so I pre-recorded it, and I'm not going to say any more. I think we're just going to play this. Wonderful Mark Paterson, absolute treat. So you're in for a treat here, everybody, because he just doesn't own a rod company. He's a very, very interesting chap. So let's play this. Today I am joined by Mark. He is the owner of LTS Flyfishing UK, one of the UK's most innovative range of fly rods and fishing equipment. He grew up on the banks of Loch Lomond and came from a family of avid anglers. He works in agriculture and fishing management, and we are in for a treat. this evening. I'm going to get him in the speed. Hello, Mark. Thank you for joining me. Tell us, Mark, the last thing that you work in agriculture and fisheries management, how long have you worked in the industry?
30, probably, yeah. We're going to be 31 years at the end of this year.
My goodness, because when you were a little boy, you used to fish with your father and your grandfather, didn't you?
My grandfather was the huge fisher. So on the Tay and many other places. The Tay was his big river that he loved. But I grew up in Loch Lomond throughout my teenage years until I was away from home. So, and then went obviously away and, well, I started as an electrician and I didn't like that after a few months. So I decided agriculture was something to look into, agriculture, fisheries management. Did my studying down at Barony College, and I've worked in fisheries, fishery boards, guiding on rivers, working where I am now with research facilities, so for fish behaviour. So yeah, quite a range of stuff, but always around fish. They're never far away.
So you are working, obviously you own LTS Flyfishing UK.
I have the UK and Ireland with that, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And but you also are working in research and fisheries.
Yeah. So yeah, we have 2 facilities there, and really just looking at the whole marine life, what's happening out there. We study a lot to do with fish behaviour. The bulk of the work with salmon, which is very interesting, but we do a whole range of fish. Looking at everything you can possibly imagine. So whether it's from their eyesight to how they behave. So it's quite interesting when you take what I do and then you put that into the fishing side.
My goodness.
Put things together.
So can fish see? Can fish see the colour of our flies?
Yes. Fish have rods and cones in their eyes, so they can see the colour, and the colour can make all the difference to being productive on a river.
Really? So tell us more about that.
Well, I think it's fairly standard how people want to work. You know, if I was going to be fishing and it's a really bright day, I'm going to be fishing brighter flies, especially when it's clear water. The prettier the water, you might want to move into a fiery brown or a claret colour. If it's going to be fishing towards night, really into the dark, the fishing with black. And everybody's kind of got their own favourites for their own rivers, and everyone fishes differently. Where I am mainly on D, we like it to be clear. We don't like it to be a bit colour upbeat. The clearer the water, the better. It's really a spring river. So your kind of standard colours, your black and yellows, blue, black and yellows tend to be what I pick my fish up. But other folk would tell you different stories. They love barb shrimp or a cascade everybody's different, and everybody's fishing trips can be different. But there's kind of things that I would work with that, for me anyway, that I find will make things productive. So when I arrive at a river, I know roughly what I want to do just by having a look at it.
So because you have fished around the world and you fished in some really seriously beautiful places. You have, and we're going to talk about more about that as well. But going back to obviously the fact that fish can see, does the size of the fly make a difference as well then?
Of course. That's they're cold-blooded animals. So you have in the eye, you have photo shoots per second. So the colder the water, the less photo shoots per second the eye holds. So then you want to be looking at fishing bigger flies. The warmer the water, the more photo shoots per second in the eye. So, and again on the D, I mean, fish have incredible eyesight anyway. And, you know, here we can use extremely small flies. And so do in Iceland, you know, they'll fish down into 20s. But here, we'll fish down into, 12, 16, 18s even. So yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. And that's not to say that no one wants to be fishing That's not to say that you can't put a sunray or something and strip them. And fish are very inquisitive. You know, when they are generally inquisitive, so when things are there, they want to know what it is. You know, they'll often follow a fly and not do anything about it. And especially when they're fresh, when fish are fresh, entering into a river, they've been hunters, they've been predators at sea. And it's, you know, the hormones can come into the body, and then they'll start to rest out in pools, you know, no interest in anything. You just stay, and that's where you get your resident fish. And then as the hormones rise a bit, the males will start to move around a bit as the season goes on, you'll go up and down the river. So things change all the time, and your tactics, how you're going to fish with these fish change. But for me, what I really love to target is fishing cold waters and, you know, spring fish. And generally, once the spring's here, I love to move away to Norway, and it's just like my second home. And I have great friends there, and I just love it.
All right. And we're also very lucky to have a lot of Norwegian, Scandinavian customers coming over to Scotland to fish as well, which I just love the way they fish, and when they come to the Dee and how they fish. It's completely different to everybody else, and it's just brilliant just to watch them.
Yeah, all the big rivers here will have a lot of Scandinavians. It's a short season, so it's an opportunity for them to burn around some big silver fish early on before the own rivers are open. So, but there's nothing nicer for me than summer months being on big rivers in Norway and sitting with some really great company. So that's what makes it for me.
When we were chatting the other day, you were mentioning about the fact that when fish travel in families, and this was something that I was reading about a couple of years ago from the college in Inverness. Just explain a little bit more for people that might not know about this.
Genetics, simply. What we do know in red beds, there's quite often you'll have an overpopulation of fish spawning, hen fish. With you might say we have a gravel bed. One year you might have one hen and a male or two males, and she can complete that. She can fulfill that with all the eggs and fry that she needs in that area. And you can have an overspawning, and when there's an overspawning, they often fight with each other, and it can deplete numbers rather than improve them. But it's a ballpark figure, but a lot of these fish, when they smoke, they will go out to sea together, they'll feed together, and they'll come back together. And there's probably many an angler out there that will tell you a story that somewhere behind the same line, the same pool, one fish after the other, they've taken two fish that look identical. And that is, but we do have stray fish. You know, it's not like all salmon from the Dee will run the Dee, and all salmon from the Tweed run the Tweed. There's the bulk of them do, but there's fish will also follow other pods of fish when there's big numbers, and they will sometimes enter into other rivers. And when they're fresh fish, again being hunters, when the hormones rise in the body, their taste and smell become far more acute. So quite often, after a certain period of time, they will leave that river and head out towards their own river. So I would think there's probably something around 30 to 50% will actually make it back to their tributary from where they started off. That could change every year depending on water flows.
Sorry, I am just moving in and out, and the only anybody watching this, when people are watching this, is because to get your volume higher. So I apologise, Mark, if you're there thinking, "Oh, she's disappeared." I am still here watching.
That's all right.
Don't think I've gone.
That's all right.
So I've been watching LTS, and I love the fact that obviously you're up on the Dee, and the work that you do to really give something back to our sport, and obviously Martin on Little Blackhall, and in Chmarlow. I've got a lovely photo. Talk us through a little bit about the kind of things that LTS do to give something back. And I'm just going to put this photo up, okay?
Yeah, that was last year. That was a nice kids' day we did. It was great. We had 2 salmon that day as well. So there was some really, really happy kids. So that was good fun. And we had the fishery board behind us to help us with that as well. So, but yeah, we've got Martin there, obviously, on Inchmarlow, Blackhall, and we've also got Terry further up the river. So these guys are great.
Yeah.
Terry's been around for so many years as well. Lots of guys know who he is. He's a charismatic guy, and we all love him. So he's great as well.
Yeah.
So, but we have people everywhere. You know, we have Glenda over in Ireland. She's probably one of the most qualified women instructors, if not the most qualified. She's fantastic. She's dead professional with everything she does. Love her to bits. I just can't thank her enough for the work she does. You know, we've got Gary Scott. You know, he has so many of his clients and the work that he does. He's just fantastic. And, you know, we've got so many different people. And like Lucinda, she's great as well. I think she's here next week, fishing with me. And they're all very different in what they do. And I don't get involved with what they do. I leave them to do their own thing and how they promote or whatever they want to do. But I'm behind them very much for all their work. So, and I really appreciate what they will do as well. It's good.
And obviously with Gary Scott, the legend that is Gary Scott, he goes out to Norway and teaching young people who are going into fishing as a business, aren't they? As the industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Gary's great. In fact, we're fishing in Norway together at the end of next month. He's coming out with me, so just to get away from it all, you know, a few days out there. So that'll be nice out in Suldal, heading to the river. They're quite a big river. So a few days fun. But as I say, we have all the different people doing all the different things, and it's great. And you know, without their help, we couldn't be where we are. And I think as a brand, we've just expanded and expanded, and not just here in the UK and Ireland. I think globally, our products have just got better and better. And Tron is so good at developing the rods. You know, we can all sit down and talk. Everyone has a wee input in what we do. Next year is looking really, really exciting for us. It's just going to get better. So we'll have, there's another new rod coming on. I won't say too much about it, but it's really exciting and another step forward, which sometimes you think, where can they really go? But it's amazing that things do just keep moving on in generations. We've got new clothing will come out for next year that we're working on just now. So we've got lots of new stuff, new reels. We've got, it's great.
And you are like the people that you have around you, and the people that I know in the UK, like Ali Hutchins, obviously Gary Scott, Glenda Powell, and to name but 3. These people in their own right are either world champions or obviously with Ali Hutchins. I know he does loads of introduction in the Central Belt and the Far North, and one of the nicest people you could meet in the industry.
Ali's great. Ali's just up here all the time, and he's great fun. In fact, he was here last week, and that's the first time I've seen him since before lockdown. So we had the day up at Balmoral, which was fantastic. With David up there, so that was good fun and great to see him again. But Ali has just he's been like my wingman ever since we had this. But I think like 4 years now we've been doing it, and he's just been great. So he's good fun.
Yeah, he's a lovely gentleman. He's one of the gentlemen of our sports, and
he's done all the shows with me that we've done, and they're just great fun, you know, and seeing everyone. So
well, I'm hoping to get him on a live as well. So, but you're talking about the rods, obviously how they're designed and they're put together, and the one thing I've like been reading up about you that, you know, how you have designed the rods, that, you know, they've got to be able to be formed in not only the water but also the wind as well. And tell us a little bit about your range, because I know you've got double, single, and you've got your switch rods. Just talk.
Yeah, we've got a wide range of rods. We've got predator rods, we've got saltwater rods, we've got, you know, the switch rod's been an incredibly popular rod actually between Ireland and a lot of guys. It's been loved. It's incredible what we get rid of those. But I think one of the nice things, whether it's double-handed, single-handed, what we love and what a lot of fishermen love about our rods is just how responsive they are when they're in your hands. You know, it's not just about trying to cast a long line. It's a rod designed for fishermen, so they can really feel. And that's the thing. I think when people pick them up, when they get the opportunity, that's a slingshot. That's one of our new rods from this year. So yeah, I think people just really love to be able to get them in their hands and give them a go. And it's proved itself. The rods sell themselves. It doesn't need me to do it. It just needs people to try them, and they seem to really love them. So it's been great.
And also, as well as that, I know that you've got the rods in Glasgow Angling Centre, where people can go and try them. Superb place to just, because obviously they've got the pool right outside the door, and they've got their open weekends, and hugely helpful staff as well. Just one of the brilliant places in Scotland to go and try, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. And you know, obviously holds, as you say, open weekends, and they're good, and it's great fun just being with all the different companies, and you know, the stories from all the guys where they've been over the last year and things. And you know, the last one we did down there, I was sitting with Jim Curry and talking about, you know, his trips in the jungle and the things he's been doing, and he's great fun, you know. And I think that's, every fisherman has their own stories to tell and where they've been and what they do. And I think the longer you do it, the more you have. You know, for me, I remember being a young lad, and I think I'd probably my first years as a guide in the river. And my grandpa always saying to me, he was 97 when he passed, and he used to sit in the riverbank and watch me fish. And he used to say, it's just a lifelong learning. You'll never learn it all. You'll never know it all. It just, you can absorb in different people you speak to. Anywhere you go with somebody and how they've gone about their methods or their different things. And that's what's nice about sport. It's not, you don't go into something and learn how to do it and that's it. You just, all the time you're picking up and learning. And I was very lucky on the beat I was on, the two beats I was on, that I had a lot of fishers, and that's probably where my Scandinavian connection came in, because I had a lot of guys that were coming over, and you know, great guys, Mikael Fredin, a great friend of mine, Arne Viesti, an absolute fantastic fisher, take fish out of the pond, you know, just, they would have it anywhere, he's just incredible. And these guys, there's a lot, even for me, it doesn't matter what stage I am, a lot for me to learn. You know, and different rivers, different places you go, you're always learning something new. And that is a lovely thing in the sport. So
it really is, and it's just the beauty of our sport as well. Because I always say, if you don't learn something new, and if you're not open to learning, you're never going to progress, are you? Really?
No, you've always got to be. You know, it's funny, when I used to give a bit of tuition and things, and golf is something, you know, people when they get into a low handicap, they want to be able to tweak and get a little bit better. A lot of guys want to pick a fish, you know, that the first few times I think that's it. But you know, even I spend, when I have the time, I don't have so much of it now, but I used to spend a lot of time in the river, just, you know, training a little bit, not wanting to really be in competitions or anything, but just improving what you're doing. And everybody should take that time. You know, you arrive at rivers, maybe in flood or it's bright sunshine, you know, low. Muck about with some different rods, have a play, try different things. You know, make the best of the time that you've got there. It's not always. Certainly for me now, is when I was younger, I used to be hungry to catch a lot of fish. I've had some incredible years, but now it's about spending time in beautiful places with just some great guys. And you know, taking that time out to relax away from everything else, and I think that is, for me, the key in the sport is my surroundings. I mean, last year we had a group of 10 of us. I think there was half a dozen from here, and friends from Norway, and we were in Vesna, which was his first year, which was just incredible. You know, I've fished in rivers like Lac Selva, Namsen, some really big, beautiful rivers, and that's fantastic, you know. And I probably because I'm too busy, I should probably spend a bit more time travelling around and down to the Tweed. I don't often get the opportunity. I've spent the last few years, I've fished a little bit more in the Spey, which has been nice as well. I love it up there. It's a cracking part of the Scottish countryside, so it's lovely, and it's a nice big river. I like bigger waters. Some folk love these smaller rivers, and you know, that's great. I get the whole thing with that, you know, single hand and switch rods. But for me, I love to build a big line out and, you know, push through and wade through some nice dangerous water. It's good.
Well, you are a boy from the Tay, and I adore the Tay, and just the size of it. I'm going to pop a photo up of you playing a fish. It's on Carlo, isn't it? Talk us through this.
That fish, that was that was a March fish, I think, if I remember rightly. That's Billy, who is just great fun. Those two gillies are as professional as they come. They really know their stuff. They make your day just an absolute dream. The stories and everything they tell is just brilliant. And actually, when I hooked this fish, was down towards the bridge, and it took quite a soft take and turned away, and I lifted it. It's great. So I'm speaking away to Billy and playing the fish. In about 20 seconds, and it dropped off. So anyway, cast back out. Same, just exactly the same line, same bit, straight down, and it's back. Billy's the same fish. Which is really unusual to take one that's been hooked as long and as well as it was. So anyway, playing it up, thinking nothing of it, and then it just took off. And Billy said, right, now we've got a fish. So anyway, that was us. We just kind of got into the trolley there for landing it. So that was me trying to get his head up for the net.
Well, the reason I kept that photo on for so long is because you can actually see the fish, and you can just see obviously the side of it, and you realise how big a fish that was. Typical Tay fish.
Yeah, it's the Tay, and again, look at this year, it's been fantastic. There's been some really nice quality fish coming off, and it's lovely to see. And it's great because, you know, I see a lot of the guys in Ireland have got some really fantastic young, hungry guys out there. They're like I was when I was young. They're fishing all the time. One of them, Simon Hartness, I think it was a 7 fish he had on Saturday. So that's pretty good going. So it's, but you know, to watch these guys and watch these rivers that are doing so well. I was actually just on a call to Norway earlier today, and they're looking at some of their rivers that have record years. And this just brings the sport, you know, where people get up and down very quickly. They see the rivers and it's all very pessimistic, and then all of a sudden it's great again. And that is the way the sport. I've seen this a few times. You know, I've seen the D where it's been right down, and I've seen the D when it's been right up, and that happens all over the place. So we'll be there again, and we'll be back in great fishing again. But this year, while it's there, and people have been locked up, it's been a very strange year, so it's great to see they can get out and actually get some great sport as well. So it's good.
And I know that during lockdown, a lot of people have actually bought fishing rods, which has been great for the sport. So I think it's now that you've gone and brought a new fishing rod. It's like, get yourself out there and go and catch a fish with it.
Yeah, I think at the early stage, people were just around at home, and one of the actually on that subject, and it's something I would love to mention, and I think he needs all the credit in the world to him, was Willie Dara, where he did this for the so angling against COVID-19, and there was so much fishing equipment that people donated, flies, rods, reels, everything else, and it's just incredible to see the anglers around the UK pulling in such a phenomenal amount of money. So I had put in a reel and a rod in the early days of that, so it was nice to see them. And I have to take my hat off to Willie. It must have been so much work for him, and he's been absolutely incredible. So well done to him, and well done to all the anglers who put money in to fighting this for the NHS, and well done to them all.
And I totally agree there, because we were contacted at FishPal, and we went and added, and I know that somebody actually won a voucher. I think it's from when we did a Glasgow angling event, and they said, "Oh, can we put that in there?" I was like, "Oh yeah, not a problem." And the same guy who'd actually got the original voucher that we put in actually won the second one that this guy had put in with a day's guiding with him. I was like, God, there was some fabulous thing.
It was incredible, just everybody pulled together. But I think that it was great for him, she kept an interest, throughout, so people were watching all the time what was there. And I mean, I threw quite a lot of money in, attempting a few. I know I won it, didn't. But it's good fun,
But it was really tough as well, and I was doing the daily lives, and I remember somebody saying to me, "You've become my new best friend with Alexa," and the reason I did the daily lives was because I was worried about people's mental health, and people now think I drink a lot of tea, which I do, but I was worried about people, because people were just they only go fishing, and they were literally just had the rug pulled from underneath them, hadn't they?
Yeah, I think that was in all aspects of life, but yeah, it was. And I think people found that quite hard. I was very lucky, actually. I was with one of my really good friends, and I love fishing with him, Stuart Foxhall. So we were lucky. We had a day here on Dee with Martin, which was just fantastic, and we had a day up in Delphi, and of course, at the time we were with Martin, I think Auntie from Chasing Silver was there, but they had to get on a plane and go home. That was them being pulled, so it was a day or two after. So we were quite lucky. We had managed to get a day or two in the early spring before that happened. So it was good.
And a big shout out for Chasing Silver as well, because we promote them at FishPal. I love that magazine.
It's great,
Fabulous work what he does. You've actually written a few articles for Tracy Silver, haven't you?
I have written a couple of articles for them, So
one
of them that was again similar. I wrote one on around fish behaviour, tactics to fish behaviour. So it's one that people want to find it, they can go back home and read it. Andy loved it. He came to me and he said, "Wow, this is great." So I don't often have the time for doing that. It's not really my thing to do either, but it was kind of putting what I do as my work, and my fishing kind of together. It's kind of niche, I suppose, to work in the side of I do and be a fisherman. Either people are maybe biologists or science, but I kind of run all the facilities that are there. So it was amalgamating everything together into a story, so which was quite nice. So.
You are one of our hidden gems of the guest, you are, when we were chatting, we were talking about basically pectoral fins, like sea trout, and also salmon.
Yeah. So it's fun. Well, so it was actually Duncan Egan years ago was fishing with me, and I was telling him this story about the fundamental difference between a salmon and a sea trout. And it's simple that a salmon's pectoral fins are tilted and a sea trout's are flat. So a salmon will use very smooth water, maybe perhaps in between, say, two stones, or they might be in front of a big stone. But water has a very rough pattern, and fish will lie where it is very smooth. And that means they can rest without having to use any energy. So I was telling them the story, and obviously trout's different, that they'll lie in behind stones and they'll use bankside vegetation, feed mid-water surface, and salmon will lie on the edge of these stones. You will never see them in dead water behind. It's all, so you can, and it's quite an interesting part when you're actually fishing. So when I'm looking at these riffles and stones and pools, it's addressing your fly at the speed and the way you want that fly line to come across them. Where do you expect that salmon to sit? When you know where to expect them to sit and you can address your fly, you will have more chance of catching more fish.
you know, and this is why you, because of your depth of knowledge, obviously you own LTS Flyfishing UK and Ireland, but also as well is the fact that you have been in fisheries management at a very high level for quite a few years. It just, having the brand, the rods and what you do, it's just perfect when you're designing rods, isn't it? Because you understand a lot more about a fish than most of us.
I mean, most of our rod design was all down to Tron, really. He's the one that puts most of the stamps in. He is really quite incredible. I really do think that we have some of the very best rods that are out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of folk that agree with that are fishing with them now. The explosive rod was just fantastic for us. It's been a big seller. People love it. I've got guys all over the country that are fishing with them now, the same in Ireland, the 12.6, the 14.6. The slingshot's taken off. It's been great. Say next year's really exciting. We've got some really nice stuff coming. So I think we're all looking forward to that. And I would imagine probably our very best reel will come next year as well. So we've improved as time's gone on. And I was actually back with LTS right back at the beginning when the company was founded. So it used to obviously be part of Loop back then, and many years ago they were separated. But so I was involved back right at the beginning of the company. So I've watched it for all these years kind of grow and change and expand. And the owner himself, Leif, he's a lovely guy. He's as straight as the day's long. I can chat to him all the time, and he's very interesting, and he's great. He's a great businessman, and you know he always looks to the future of where we're going to go with things, and it's great. So,
I was actually going to introduce the reels because I absolutely love your reels.
Yeah.
And talk us through your range of reels, because obviously there's another one here as well.
That's actually more to fit. That one's to fit into people's budget. It's been great actually. That's the new dynamic reel. So it's really fantastic. In fact, some of the gillies that work with me, I've given them all these now, and yeah, they love it. So we've had the Vosler, we had him make some reels for us there, which have been beautiful. But yeah, we have a new reel which I'm not going to talk too much about. We'll put it out there when we're ready, but it's looking really exciting for us. So
can I just Vosler? So you've actually had Vosler make some reels for you?
Yeah. He's made our last batch of reels for us. Yeah,
because
limited numbers, but they're yeah.
Because those are the ones that I know some of the AAP guy boys, when they passed their casting exams, they actually had their own engraved reel.
Yeah, well, we've changed a lot of things. We just got him to machine them and make them. So they're German made, and they're lovely, they're beautiful. So, but they're limited, and I only even got one myself. So.
Oh, you need to spoil yourself and get yourself one.
Yeah. So anyone that got one was lucky.
Well, you fished all over the world, and obviously, you know, dream destinations that we've talked about. And as far as Australia, what were you doing in Australia?
My parents live there. So yeah, I'm quite lucky. So I can go out there and dabble around, and I've actually got a guy. It was funny because when I've started looking into boats in the area, because I quite fancied having a go at some marlin, and looked at boats in the area, and I found this guy, and he ended up, his wife had sold the house to my mum and dad, so they already knew him. So I ended up had a couple of days out there, and I never got my marlin actually, but we did get some really great fish, and then even some of these smaller fish in Australia, you know, the parrotfish and all these, they're just beautiful to catch them up with. So very different. So and my sister's in Phuket, so you know I can go out there and take everywhere I go and take a fly rod. So
I don't blame you. And the other thing as well is that when I was fishing the Tweed on Saturday, and Middle Pavilion, and I was fishing a switch rod. Switch rods, they've got to be something anglers need in their arsenal, aren't they?
Yeah, I think for these medium rivers, like a lot of guys, obviously people are travelling a lot more around the world than even we were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Argentina has become a great, destination. Canada, and a lot of these guys love using switch rods. And our original switch rod has just been incredible. And the people that have been going out taking them to the guides get hold of them out in these destinations, and they say, "This is incredible, this is brilliant." So that's a good friend of mine, Freda. That's on the D here. So just putting a nice bend in one of the rods. All our rods are a full deep action rod. Everything delivers from them, so they're great to fish with. So.
Yeah. And also as well is that the people that you've got around you that are obviously giving the input and helping with the design, etc. You've got some of the world's best people involved with you.
Yeah, we have. We've got some great people, but it doesn't matter what brand it is, and without being talking about LTS, all the brands. There's great guys in all of them, and they're all great to talk to. Scott McKenzie on the shows with him is just great fun. All these guys, Jim Curry, I love catching up with them when you see them, because I don't often see them around riverbanks. It tends to be the shows, and it's been a bit different this year that obviously we haven't been able to do these, but I'm sure things will hopefully change back to normal. One thing we will do is when we kind of get the green light to do it, is we will do another kids' day. And I'll also do another competition for some fishing here on the D as well. When we get the chance, we'll speak to Martin about that, and we're offering up some more fishing. So look out for us doing a competition for a couple of rods for a couple of days. So.
Oh well, Martin on the D, Martin Robson is such a lovely young man.
He's great, and all these guests that are there, they just love him. He will take you, and he's so enthusiastic. It's stone by stone. Where are you going to get your fish? He's just brilliant. He's delighted to have him. He's been absolutely brilliant for the whole team.
Yeah, and the whole of the beat and where you stay, it's an absolute treat to go and stay, not only to have Martin guide you, but also to go and actually stay at Alney's Beach, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, this is I've taken on a new house here, so it's been doing this up, and you can see it's a bit of fishing themes going on with the leaves and things. So,
well, all I can say is a huge thank you. And do you know something? I always say the guys that are at the top of the game, and you guys are so understated. The likes of Scott McKenzie, you've mentioned Scott, you've mentioned Jim Curry, who had on last week, and when you actually start saying, "Oh, you did this and you did the other," you can see the embarrassment in your face, because and you're the same. Jim Curry was the same last week. Ian Gordon's the same. Scott McKenzie, Charles Jardine, everybody is.
All, it's honestly all these guys. We're all great guys. We're not used to sitting in front of doing things like this. We're used to being on a riverbank.
Well, I'm just grateful, and everybody here today watching this is hugely grateful. And just to get an insight into Mark Paterson, because Mark Paterson, the gentleman who works in fisheries management, but also is the director owner of LTS Flyfishing UK and Ireland. Huge thank you so much for today.
You're very welcome.
And we're hoping to get a couple. Now, I know before you go, you've got a new website coming, haven't you?
Yeah, that is, and we'll do a great launch of that soon. So it's been worked on all the time just now, and it's much better, bigger, and yeah, there'll be lots of new different items and things going on in there. So, but that will be under .co.uk. So it'll be LTS-flyfishing.co.uk.
Brilliant.
Within the next week or two, we'll be launching that as well.
And we'll put a ticker tape along that. And also, as well as if people want to go and try your rods, obviously go and see Martin Robson.
Yeah.
Glasgow Angling, where else?
we've got, well, I mean, the bulk of the stuff we do is we do it with the guides and the pros on the river. You know, I leave this down to them. So, you know, Glenda is always taking folk out, and, you know, she's got stuff there, introducing them. We have other shops. We've got shops in Ireland as well. We've got Barney there at the moment. We've got, you know, people can come to me. We like to do a lot of things on a personal basis. I don't want somebody just to buy something, and I want them to be really happy with what they end up with. You know, it's a lot of money to be spending, and it's not, you don't want to be, some of us spend so much, it's ridiculous. But, you know, people maybe only buy 1 or 2 rods and they want to get that right. So I would suggest that if they get the chance, they go along to these people. You know, with Martin here, if there's a particular rod and his guest, it takes me 5 minutes to drop it off, they can go and try them. You know, and again, this competition, somebody lucky will put a whole range of rods out and folk can come along and test stuff for themselves. And I say, word of mouth is the best thing with this. You know, people talking about what they've tried and what they've got, and you know, get out, try them for yourself. If you see me around or people want to try something, they're very welcome to phone me up, you know, or email me, and, you know, we can have a chat and try and help them out with whatever we can.
And also drop into Glasgow Angling Centre, because
drop into Glasgow Angling, they've got rods there, go and try them.
Definitely, and they've got a lovely casting pool, and they're open. And don't forget, everybody, tackle shops are now open, and please support your local tackle shop, because the tackle shops need everybody to be supporting them now. And also, as well as, go and support your local gilly, because I tell you, you know, that if you want somewhere to fish, go and fish with Martin, because seriously, lovely man.
Yeah, I've got some other young guys coming up, and you'll see them in the next while. They'll be popping up. They've been impressing me a lot over the last while. Young and hungry, so there'll be some new guys coming on as well.
And also, don't forget, if you're going to fish the Deep, don't forget to fish with Terry Clayton as well, because I would hate Terry to be upset that I hadn't mentioned his name.
No, Terry, nobody can forget Terry.
And of course, Ali Hutchings, he's got water on the Spey.
Yep. You know, people want to get up there. The water he has for sea trout especially is fantastic. So be in touch with him if you're looking at trying to book something. Now's a good time. So get in touch with Ali Hutchings.
And last year, Japanese TV just filmed his beat aerially for a promotion they were using out in Japan. And then you've also got the lovely Glenda, who's also got a beast and water down in a southern island, who's absolutely just one of the loveliest ladies. And you've got Lucinda, she is involved in Bishop Auckland and District Angling Club, which have water on the River Weir.
She's got her stage 1. She's very eager. She's just coming up better and better all the time. So no, she's brilliant. She's great fun. I'm sure if anybody wanted to get out and get lessons down there at the harbour, then I'm sure they'll have a great time there as well. So
yeah, look forward to seeing the new website. I've had a peek of it the last couple of days. I'm excited, and I know everybody watching this is going to absolutely love it. So well done, because there's been a lot of work gone into that, and I know how much work goes into building websites with the FishPal one.
The right boat behind you, it's not all down to me.
Well, you take care, Mark, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. And thanks so much for today.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Anne.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, there you go. I did say that we were in for a treat with the wonderful Mark Paterson. So interesting, and huge thanks to everybody who has been adding comments into the feed. So, and thank you everybody for still watching as well. Now, I am joined by the wonderful Stronach family. Hello, team. Oh, I haven't got the volume on. We'll start with the volume.
Hi, Anne. How are you?
I'm well, Mum. You're going to need to move in a bit more.
I'm going to move in.
There we go. So, how are you doing? Because I know were you working late today?
Yes, not long finished, Anne. Tough times, summer.
Definitely. So, Gordo, I gather you've been out fishing. Where have you been? Because I'm going to put some photos on.
So we went fishing on Saturday to Loch Meag and Loch Scardroy, which are just west of Contin. It was really, really good, something we haven't done before. So it was just getting a feel for like what different kind of fishing is. So at the start, Loch Scardroy it was really windy, so the waves were really high and they were coming down. And it was really hard to cast, but it was so worth it doing it.
Well, I gathered that you were being guided by Poster Boy, as we're now going to call him.
He's going in my bathroom wall then, is he?
Oh, and do you notice the headline next to his head says "Bend it like Beckham"?
Definitely Poster Boy.
Okay, well, show this again, everybody. But you had Poster Boy. So, how did you find it? Because he's just wonderful, isn't he, Alan Liddell?
Oh, Alan Liddell is so good. I really look up to Alan because he's so knowledgeable, and he'll tell you what kind of flies to put on, some advice. So the night before we went, Mum was texting him saying, I like your fish that you just caught, it's a stunner. And he texted back saying that he was going tomorrow morning. So it was really short notice. It was about 12 o'clock at night. And Mum shouts through, do you want to go fishing with Alan Liddell? And of course, I had to say yes because Alan is so nice. So I said yes. And then we set off we got up at 7:30 in the morning and met Alan and arrived there at 10 o'clock. And it was just the scenery. Like, if we passed that by ourselves, Mum said herself, we would have probably not even thought of fishing there because it was so many waves.
Yeah, I'm just going to come back in. That photo of...
Sorry, Anne. The next time we go, we're going to bring a surfboard, I think.
Absolutely can. Gordo, is this in the same area or were you fishing elsewhere?
So that photo there is me at Dunlickety Fishery. So that day, me and Mum and Dad went after Mum was finished working, and we went up just for 2 hours and we fished it, and in the end we caught one and released it back. It was so good, and just the thrill of seeing the rod bend and them swimming and jumping out of the water is just so fantastic.
So how much was a permit for the Dumrock? Am I saying it right?
Dunlickety,
sorry.
So it's, what was it?
It was £20, I think it was.
£20 for 2 hours, and for 4 hours
it was 24. Was it
£24? I think.
Was that a keep ticket or was that just a catch and release ticket?
So they were keep tickets.
Okay.
And catch and release
17, I think.
Was £17 for 4 hours, I think.
Okay.
I'm not too sure, so.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, I'm sure people can actually go onto the website. And I noticed there's a fly here. Have you been tying again, Gordo?
No, that was actually one of Alan Liddell's, and he said, well, that one's, you might have some luck with that. And so me and Mum went fishing and we didn't have polarized glasses on, and Alan did, and I took the first cast and was just taking it out of the water, and Alan said, you just missed one. And I said, how did you see that? And he said, polarized glasses. So today I've actually gone and bought myself some Sinner polarized glasses out of Go Outdoors. They are fantastic already.
And how much did they cost you?
They cost me £31.
Oh, that's not bad. That's good. That's a good one. And you've actually been on the river and you've been looking, because I know today when I rang up, you were actually on the Ness, weren't you, looking at anglers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were looking at some people fishing. Just we went down to enjoy our dinner and we're watching them fish, and went over to see, and they actually told us that a boy had caught a fish this morning,
Nice one.
or was it yesterday? One of the two. And it was a 5.5 pounder grills.
It was yesterday, because I've just gone and had a look on the FishPal site on the Nest menu, and it says it went in as £5. So because also as well, everybody, is that other rivers are fishing as well, because I mentioned a few at the start. You've got the Border Esk, the Esks, the Findhorn, Galloway, Loch Arbor, obviously the Ness. So they are just some of the rivers that we have that are catching fish this week as well as the other rivers that I've actually talked about at the start. So, there you go, your sister. She's come on. We still don't have her because she's still with Grandma, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. So what are your plans for next week then, team?
So next week, well, actually tonight, I'm going to go down fishing the Inverness with my brand new Mackenzie FX1 that I got today.
You are so lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
An Atlas.
So it's the 6-piece. It's really small, so you can take it on luggage in the aeroplanes with you.
Oh, get a photo. Put a photo on your your Instagram. And what's your Instagram, Gordo?
My Instagram is Gordo Stronach Fishing. There we go.
Brilliant.
So if you go check it out, there will be some photos hopefully tonight.
And we've also got Les Rutledge watching. Good evening, Les. And he said the Cumbrian Eden is on fire this year. And I know on the ones that we've had reported, the fish we've had reported so far, they had 29 fish last week. That's just on beats that report with us. And that's not many beats actually that report. And this week, they've had 3 that have been reported. And that's been on lower and middle Eden beat as well. Absolute. They've done really, really well on the Eden. Some beautiful fish coming off the Eden as well. And your sister's made a comment: are you taking me next time? We knew you got those glasses. Right, so hello Cheyenne, and we're hoping to have Cheyenne soon. And she's obviously said, wowza, can't believe you finally got a Mackenzie rod. Neither can I. You are so lucky to have a Mackenzie rod.
It's been my dream rod to have. I fished it this side, and Ryan Rutherford, which is the gilly there, actually had one. So I got to use it for one of my days, and I fell in love with it. It was so good.
And so what line have you got going on it, and what reel are you using?
So I have Airflow V2.
Oh yeah.
With a Mackenzie spay line on it, and that's it.
Yeah. And the hook, well, we don't know what fly we're going to
use yet, but one hopefully I tied myself if I can find them.
Well, I tell you one thing: when you go down to the Inverness Angling Club water or any of the beats on the Ness, everybody is so friendly, so welcoming, and that's why a few years ago, that's why I did a ladies' event on the Inverness Angling Club water, because people were so kind. And the guys, when you fish, they'll say, oh, these are the flies that are working, etc. And that is, you feel safe, you feel happy. You're right in the centre of Inverness. If you want to fish Inverness Angling Club water, you can walk from your accommodation. What more do you want than and you can take, if your wife doesn't or your partner doesn't fish, they can always go shopping. By the way, if you set your life vest off as well, Gordo. Okay. Don't worry, your sister set one off at a ladies' event a couple of years ago. We remember that life vest going off because we got photos. So don't worry, Gordo, we do have photos for you. But anyway, huge thank you, because family fishing is so important, and going out as a family is so important, isn't it, Tracy?
Yeah, definitely. We're missing Cheyenne at the minute, but it was myself and Dad and Gordon that were out with Alan. So he guided us, which was brilliant. But maybe thank goodness that Cheyenne wasn't there, because the laughs that we had, I don't think we could cope with anymore, could we?
No.
There was a few rolls in the hills on the way up them and down them, and yeah, it was brilliant. And Alan's such a great guide. He's given Gordon a lot of tips, and me a lot of tips, and Stephen too. So it's been great. So I think the new tutorial, the fly that you showed a wee while ago, was there he is, the tarantula of some sort, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it really swam well. It was really nice in the water. So I think we're going to maybe try and do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're wanting to get out in the water later on, so I think it's a tomorrow job.
Yeah,
So,
well, the thing is with the legs, that'll give it a wave as it goes across as well, so
Yeah.
it's going to attract. But
Yeah.
Mark Paterson, he has confirmed that fish can see colour. And so his job, the job that he does do, absolutely fascinating gentleman. So next week, at the start of the week, Tom Carter and myself are going to be doing a family fishing focus. So we're going to get you coming on to that family fishing focus and talk about why you go fishing as a family, and we're going to come out with some really good places for people to go fishing. A huge thank you to everybody that's come on this evening, and for all the likes, etc. as well. So I can only wish you tight lines.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. And if everybody's out, I'm gonna take you off that feed. And if you are out fishing in the next couple of days, there's fish being caught. Just check out the catches pages on FishPal. If you need any help, just get in touch with those guys, because on the homepage of fishpal.com we do have the help desk. And hello, we've got Patagonia. Hello, Rodrigo. It's lovely to have you on from Patagonia, Chile. We were actually talking about Chile earlier on with Mark Paterson. So if you do want to go fishing, just come onto our site. I'm normally on the help desk, so do come on and say hello, and we'll help you get somewhere to go fishing, and do keep looking at the latest catches, the river levels. And I'd just like to thank everybody who actually puts their catches on the FishPal site. So the gillies, the guides, the boatmen, huge thank you, because all these catches just help, and the information just help everybody to actually book a day's fishing or a fishing trip. So if you are out and about, have a wonderful time. I'm very envious, because all I'll be doing is working, but I do have a dream job. I work for FishPal. So anyway, you take care, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.